You think you know about how your work is valued might actually be a trap that is holding you back. Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a massive, fundamental shift in the modern economy. It's a shift that is literally creating an entirely new class of high-value professionals. We are diving deep into the no-code AI automation blueprint. Because think about it, right? Coding used to be this massive, impenetrable wall. But that wall, it's completely crumbled. You do not need a computer science degree to build enterprise-grade systems anymore. We're going to deconstruct exactly how mastering these intuitive drag-and-drop systems is rapidly becoming one of the most lucrative skills you can learn today. It allows anyone to build incredibly powerful tools that just run on autopilot. So let me ask you this. Are you still trapped in that traditional model of trading your precious time for a paycheck? Because if you are, you're hitting a very hard ceiling. It's a massive pain point for almost every professional out there right now. Look, there's only 24 hours in a day, which means your income and your impact are strictly capped by your own physical limits. You can only type so fast, read so many emails, or take so many calls. It's exhausting, and it completely bottlenecks your potential. But what if that whole concept of clocking in was suddenly obsolete? What if the actual value you produced had absolutely nothing to do with how long it took you to produce it? Consider a real-world transformation inside a modern business that recently broke through the ceiling, and this brilliantly illustrates the point. A traditional, manual employee onboarding process used to drag out across 15 cumbersome, incredibly frustrating tasks. We're talking about the truly soul-crushing stuff here: manual data entry, drafting the same repetitive welcome emails over and over, setting up payroll, configuring software access, pinging IT, just an absolute bureaucratic nightmare. But by implementing no-code AI automation, they compress that entire tangled mess into exactly one streamlined action. Just one. A single trigger now sets off a chain reaction that finishes the other 14 steps instantly. Just imagine the sheer amount of time, energy, and cash saved in that one single daily workflow. This is exactly why businesses are completely rethinking how they measure value. We don't get paid for hours anymore. We get paid for outputs, and automation can literally 10x your output. That is the core paradigm shift of this explainer. This is the exact mindset you have to adopt right now. Modern success isn't about grinding for 80 hours a week and wearing your burnout like some kind of badge of honor. It's about leveraging technology to produce 10 times the results in a fraction of the time. When you maximize your output without increasing your manual labor, you become an entirely different kind of asset. Because this solves such a deeply expensive problem, professionals who actually master no-code AI implementation are commanding incredibly high rates right now. We're talking $300 to $400 an hour. And honestly, that's not just a salary, that is a direct reflection of the massive capital they're saving these businesses. If your automated system saves a company $50,000 a year in wasted administrative hours, charging a premium for setting that up is just a tiny fraction of the value you've created. It is absolutely one of the highest paid skills in the market because you are literally handing time and money back to your clients. So how do we actually build this? Okay, let's dive into this. Here is the exact step-by-step agenda we're going to use today. 1. The workflow problem. 2. Hours versus outputs. 3. Map the workflow. 4. Focus on cash. And 5. Build AI copilots. Starting with Section 1, the workflow problem. The reality is, businesses today are quite literally bleeding money. They are leaking critical resources just trying to manage everyday manual workflows. Think about a customer support ticket bouncing between 3 different departments just because there's no automated routing system to read the context and send it to the right person. Or think about the endless, mind-numbing data entry required just to move a lead from a spreadsheet into a CRM. It's a massive drain on human capital, and the biggest, most lucrative opportunity for you lies right here. It's in finding these leaks and solving this massive waste of operational efficiency. If you can plug those holes using simple, no-code tools, you make yourself invaluable. Which brings us to Section 2, hours versus outputs. To actually plug those leaks, we need a massive mental shift. We are transitioning rapidly from the old era into the AI era. In the old era, you got paid for your hours, which required super high manual effort, and your growth, it was strictly linear. If you wanted to double your output, you literally had to double your hours, which obviously is physically impossible after a certain point. But the AI era completely flips this on its head. Now you are getting paid for outputs. By building automated systems using intuitive no-code platforms, you gain 10x leverage. You build a system once, and it works for you around the clock, perfectly executing tasks without ever getting tired. It's the difference between an outdated manual grind and modern, high-leverage command. Let's move on to Section 3, map the workflow. So the crucial point is, how do we actually build this high-leverage machine? Well, here are the 3 concrete steps to building a real-world system from scratch. Step 1, map the workflow. Step 2, focus on cache. And step 3, build copilots. Let's break down exactly what it means to map a workflow and why it's the absolute foundation of everything else we're doing. To automate effectively, you have to completely deconstruct what is already happening. Let's take a typical sales workflow as an example. You've got a sales development rep who qualifies the leads. Then an account X steps in to enroll those leads, and above them, a sales manager oversees the whole infrastructure. Your job here is to grab a whiteboard, map out every single step these people take, and find the exact bottleneck. Usually it's something incredibly mundane, like the account X having to manually copy notes from a discovery call and paste them into 3 different tracking sheets, totally stalling their ability to follow up with the next client. Identifying that specific manual data transfer as your target, that is an incredibly high-value skill on its own. On to Section 4, focus on cache. Mapping the workflow is just the start, but here is where so many ambitious builders get it completely wrong. Do not just automate something because it's easy or because the tech looks cool. You have to focus on the low-hanging fruit that either saves the business significant money or generates direct revenue. Look, if you automate a broken or useless internal process, all you've really done is create a faster, broken process. Automating a useless task doesn't make you valuable. Tying your automation directly to a business's bottom line is exactly what justifies those premium rates we talked about. You have to follow the cache. Here is a perfect example of focusing on cache: AI cold outreach. Imagine setting up a 24/7 automated bot that constantly prospects, personalizes messages, and connects with leads. And because we're talking about no-code solutions here, you don't need a software engineer to write complex scripts. You just use a visual interface to connect your AI directly to an email client or a messaging platform. It acts like a relentless salesperson who never sleeps, never complains, and constantly generates scalable income without any manual labor. When you build a system that brings direct cash into a business with zero ongoing effort, the value you bring becomes totally undeniable, and your payout scales with it. Finally, Section 5, build AI copilots. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is that the ultimate goal here isn't blindly replacing the human workforce. It's about building an AI buddy. Think of it as a co-pilot that sits directly inside a worker's daily workflow. This co-pilot takes on all the heavy lifting, the tedious data sorting, the preliminary research, drafting the complex reports. Because of this, the human being is elevated from a mere data entry clerk to an executive editor. They only have to review, tweak, and approve the final output. This is known as a human-in-the-loop system. You are safely keeping human oversight, empathy, and final judgment intact while completely eliminating the manual grind that leads to burnout. That is what true leverage looks like in the modern workplace. We've covered a ton of ground today, but I really want to leave you with this final critical thought. The barrier to entry has officially vanished. You no longer need to be a programmer to build enterprise-grade automation. The tools are no code, the leverage is infinite, and this massive shift is already happening around us every single day. People are constantly asking if AI will take their jobs. Well, the truth is, AI won't replace you, but a professional leveraging AI absolutely will. The blueprint is right here in your hands. You understand the pain of the old era and the incredible leverage of the new one. So the only question left is, what workflow are you going to automate first? Start today, not tomorrow.